Hey trainers, welcome back! You're with Pewter City Gym, and today we're going to be creating another Fakemon for our region, Solah. Solah is based on Southern California and a few of the surrounding areas, so we have plenty of fun stuff to turn into Fakemon. Hey, if you enjoy Fakemon and Pokemon content, I'd really love it if you could like and subscribe. I post new Fakemon videos every month and a lot of Let's Play content, so if that sounds like your jam, please, you are welcome here. Anyway, this week we're tackling another staple of every dex, the regional dog. Man's best friend is an absolute no-brainer as a design basis for a monster that is all at once friend, protector, and pet. No wonder Pokemon has so many canine designs, right? From critters you can snag 10 minutes into your adventure to weapon-wielding legends, we have a lot of canines to choose from. And that's not even counting foxes. There's been a few iterations of this Pokemon category throughout the generations. In Gen 1, Growlithe isn't available until later game. In Gen 2, Snubbull is available in Route 38, which is after Ecruteak City and a little ways into the game as a result. In Gen 3, you get Poochyena and Electrike fairly early, and they are the advent of the early route dog. Don't worry, I'm not going to talk about how Zigzagoon is the real early route canine. It skips a generation in Gen 4 where Riolu isn't even available wild at all, but considering we get technically 3, sorry, couldn't resist, early route canines in Generation 3, I think we can forgive Sinnoh for this trespass. Plus, Lucario is an MVP in regards to the Sinnoh Pokedex. In Generation 5, we get Lillipup right there in Route 1. Gen 6, you've got Furfrou and Swirlix fairly early on, Rockruff and Yamper come next, and both are available pretty early game as well. And of course, in the soon-to-be-released Generation 9, we have my absolute favorite new design so far, Fidough. So, this Pokedex category is a little all over the place. 1 stage, 2 stage, 3 stage, early game, late game, quadruped, biped, multiform, single form, regional form, and bred. We'll mostly be focusing on the early route canine type of Pokemon today though. So many ways to go with this design process. And speaking of design, let's head over to the lab. Though, is it just me or is the pollen count kinda high today? Ugh, I hate seasonal allergies. I hope it's better inside. It is not. Anyway, being that Solah is based on Southern California, the expected route would be to go with a Chihuahua, right? It's the stereotypical purse doggy, and they're super common out here. Yep, which is why so many people have already done it, and many of them are really great. It's honestly unavoidable, sometimes, to create stuff that's similar to other creators. Still, if I can avoid stepping on toes, I'll go that route where possible. So I went a different route and chose a different set of canine characteristics. There are many popular dog breeds out here, and you see people with pups all over the place. I feel like in general, people out here are pretty chill with folks who bring their animals into stores and stuff, and it is usually the smaller dogs that get this treatment. Seriously, or is it just me, or are the allergens out in force today? Anyway. I wanted something that could look like a little purse dog. A Maltese, Pomeranian, Bichon, teacup, anything. I still feel like these kinds of pups, even if they aren't Chihuahuas, are pretty synonymous with the region and so work well. The treatment they get is pretty similar too. Purses, strollers, little sweaters, bows, shoes for walking on hot asphalt when it's 110 degrees outside, but you gotta walk the dog so it can get some exercise. But here's the kicker, it can't just be a cartoon dog, right? I mean, let's be real, Lillipup is just a Yorkie. It's a cartoon Yorkie that evolves into a bigger Yorkie and then into the biggest Yorkie, and yeah, I'm aware that there's other dog characteristics inherent in the latter two designs, but when you look at them, they mostly say Yorkie. And honestly, I'm legitimately fine with this. Rattata is a cartoon rat, Swallow is a cartoon swallow, Furret is a cartoon ferret. Early route Mons are often just a fictionalized, battle-optimized version of a regular animal that's familiar and cute. Lillipup is a Route 1 Pokemon, so it fits this genre of monster. For my critter though, I want to bring in another element or two to make it a bit more interesting. Just a little outside the box. So I was walking to the store one day and was sneezing my head off because the allergy pills I'd taken that morning decided to have a lazy day and leave me to deal with all the histamine on my own. There's a huge privet hedge on the way to the store, and it struck me how white and fluffy the bunches of flowers looked from a distance. White and fluffy. Suddenly, the combination of concepts fixed itself firmly in my allergy-riddled brain. Or maybe all the sneezing just shook the idea loose. You know what? Let's take care of this pollen. Come on, Rotom fan. Let me borrow you for a minute here. That's better. White fluffy dog, white fluffy flowers, a privet pup. The other element I included as much as possible is that kind of standard pollen grain shape. They're round with these little hairs sticking out of them. Not all of them look like that, mind you, but this is the most recognizable version, and the sketches were a quick matter after that. Colors were a little more challenging. I initially thought it would just be a pure white dog, but because I wanted to incorporate these allergen, pollen, planty sort of elements, I decided to go with the lightest possible shade of green. This pup is a grass type, so that needed to be reflected somehow. I also borrowed a technique I saw Boreal Mind do by applying a super light transparent texture to the whole thing like some Pokemon have. I think it worked really well for how fluffy this monster is. And here we have Pomeranian, the itchy Pokemon. This Pokemon produces pollen constantly and is always in some state of allergic reaction. Underneath its soft fur is a stretchy body with vine-like limbs. These limbs can stretch and bend in any direction, allowing itself to scratch any itch it might have with a minimum of effort. Here's your base stats, and here's a learned moves list. The name is a portmanteau of Pomeranian and pollen, of course. The roundness of it is directly inspired by the super round and fluffy grooming style of many dogs, especially Pomeranians. Though the other name I thought of was Bichon Sneeze. Misty vetoed that one. Anyway, like the Dex entry mentions, it also has a stretchy, bendable property, like the vines of many other Pokemon. I figured that would provide it the ability to scratch itself all over, plus it would make watching them run around very entertaining. I went with a 2-stage evolution line for this Pokemon. Most of the dog Pokemon do only have 2 stages, despite the outliers with 1 and 3. But which direction to take a Pomeranian in? I don't want to just make a bigger Pomeranian, so I had to put on my thinking cap and come up with something else. Eventually, I settled on the Chow Chow. This big, floofy dog has some pretty different features to the Pomeranian, but they actually have a shared ancestry. The cute little lapdog Pomeranian we're used to now wasn't the standard for the breed back in the day, where it was used as a livestock dog, among other things. The Chow Chow is an ancient breed from China and said to be one of the earliest domesticated breeds. They do have a few similar features though. They both have stiff triangular ears, double thick coats, tails that curl up over their backs, and in fact, as with so many dog breeds, you can get a mix of these two. Chow Pom and Chowaranian are an actual thing. They are both Spitz dogs, along with Shiba Inus, Huskies, and Akita. Once I had the breed in mind, the design was fun and simple to come up with. A big mane and just a lot of fluff in general are the benchmarks of this breed, along with that blue tongue. Which just means the Chow Chow has some melanin in the skin of the tongue. There's a wonderful old legend, though, that says that when God was painting the sky blue, drops of paint fell from his brush, and the Chow Chow followed along behind, lapping them up and forever coloring its tongue a bright blue. I actually really love that story. Misty said it looked a lot like a bear, and that made me chuckle because apparently a lot of people think Chow Chow are descended from bears and not wolves. It's not true, unfortunately. Bears and dogs are completely differing groups of animals, but still, the similarities are there, and it's kind of a fun idea. In terms of colors, a slightly darker shade than the prior form. The fur is still made out of pollen after all, but that blue tongue stays, of course. I can't leave that out. And here we have a Chow, the sneeze Pokemon. A Chow are fantastic guard dogs. While they may seem aloof and unfriendly at times with strangers, they will fight fiercely to protect their trainers and owners should they be kept as pets. Their plant-like metabolism requires they sun themselves frequently. Here are your base stats, and here's a learned moves list. I added in some flying-type moves just to reference the sky-licking legend. I couldn't resist. Of course, the name is a portmanteau of achoo, which is the noise that I make pretty much every day during allergy season, hundreds and hundreds of times, and the breed name, Chow. Very simple, but I think it gets the idea across. In terms of abilities, I'm going with Chlorophyll due to that grass typing and Effect Spore because of all that pollen. For your hidden ability, we've got Cotton Fluff, which, when this Pokemon is attacked, scatters down all over the battlefield to slow down all other Pokemon in the battle, except itself. A pretty crazy broken ability, but that's why it's hidden, right? Also, here are your shinies, and this is what the egg would look like. So anyway, I hope you like the pups of the Solah region. I think they're all very good boys and girls. They would be available mostly around Route 1, but you might run into the occasional stray Chow in larger cities. Anyway, that's it for this video. Thanks so much for watching. I'm looking forward to catching you in the next one, but until then, take care. Bye!